Well, we got a new sign. I think Sierra might like it.
Well, back with another desk job, of which there are many to do. I recently got this sign, which is too big for my desk, and let's sweep the biscuit crumbs off because it's morning cuppa with my dad joke mug from my apprentice. And so this sign, you can access it with Wi-Fi, which is nice, and modify things with your phone and all. However, it's a bit of a pain in the rear trying to jump between this access point and my other access point. I'd really like to have this on my existing network, so that I don't have to start or choose between internet and updating my sign. I'd also like to be able to access it with my PC without having to muck around with Wi-Fi and emulators and all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to open this up and see what sort of microcontrollers in here, and we'll work from there. Right, now this is a pretty modular design. There's two screws on the side here. Let's swing our camera around a bit. See if we can pop the top off this. I've taken these two screws out. Should be able to slide that up and get a good look. So I can see a little controller. I did pick the right end. There's a controller in here with a real-time clock and some connections. Okay, so there's an RTC battery in here and power connections. This takes mains in here, so there's a power supply in here somewhere, which I can see. And believe it or not, you can just slide this out. Alright, so in terms of hardware, this is it. This is the controller, and it was floating around loose in here. Potentially able to make contact with the back plane of these two FETs here, and that could cause some fireworks. So yeah, we will definitely peg that down. They have screwed in a couple of pieces of timber here to hold the boards down to, and not bothered to even zip tie this down. So we might at least use a zip tie there, and we'll trim the tail off that. These insulation connections look pretty good. And there are three separate LED panel modules here with a bunch of shift registers all over them. This little plug here tells me that it would be entirely possible to connect this to something like a Raspberry Pi or an Arduino and possibly control this to a higher degree with a different bit of hardware. In fact, I have an Arduino sitting up here anyway. So that might be a project for the future. But in terms of connecting to an Ethernet, not going to happen. So we're going to have to work with the firmware that's on it. I think it's possible to do updates over the mobile app. But we can even see the Wi-Fi antenna on the end of this board here. So it's an all-in-one board manufactured for just this, which, considering I paid around about $100 for this, I'm not surprising that they've basically done things as cheap as possible in here. They have got a 400 volt, 68 volt cap in here, which is nice. That's well above the 240 volt mark. Should deal with some instabilities. Does also mean that if I wanted to power this off 12 volts, I could get a bank of linear regulators. Would probably do the job well, or a decent sized 12 volt switch mode, or buck converter might even do it too. Now I was about to button this up, but I've had one thought. Insulation. So this is where the mains lead comes in, and these have a fairly high potential on them. There's a metal plate behind this that is millimeters above that, and that's the inside covering of it, and I think this is conductive all the way through, so that is of concern. I may at some point actually change this out with a 3-core flex and put an earth terminal on the back of that back plate. I do have RCDs, which is nice. They're residual current or leakage detection devices. That would potentially help me from getting electrocuted, but I would probably like to have an earthed chassis on this, or maybe even to these metal frames, aluminium channels on the back here. Either way, it would be good. But for now, I'm going to button it up as is, and just remember to make sure not to touch the back of it when it's plugged into mains. Now, just for the sake of accuracy, I thought I'd get my continuity tester here. Now, the reflective side is definitely conductive. The other side is not. So I think what this actually is, and this is probably more indicative of China, this is actually some kind of plastic. that they've got a foil layer over. But it would definitely impinge the Wi-Fi range of it a little bit. However, where it's important would be to have it up here. But yeah, I don't know. There's a few things wrong with this idea, but we'll just work with it for now. Alright, so I've got the software running on PC and I've connected to it by Wi-Fi, and you can have multiple clients on the Wi-Fi hotspot. That's good. What's not good is there's no way to password the actual module as far as I can see. And I won't show the MAC addresses, but I did scan the network and I've tried to access it with a web interface like a HTTP interface. That's not an option either. Alright, well I did get it sort of doing its thing. But we'll work on it more later on. At the moment I can only connect to it via Wi-Fi with my phone. I will need to work out how to get it onto the network with everything else. Maybe that's a sensible thing, maybe it's not. I don't know.